and Margaret Benz's typesetter.
Ah, Bill, I believe you were postmaster too, weren't you?
Yes, I became postmaster in 1950 after my father. There were a lot of politics involved in the postmaster job, so the jobs change every now and then.
I'm interested in Stephen Huckle, the rural postman.
Rural mail delivery started about 1902. Henry Jerbeck had Route 1 and Stephen Huckle had Route 2.
Well, I'm especially interested in Stephen Huckle. I read about him in his son's book, Huckle's Roots and Branches. His son Art wrote several interesting books about his family. When Stephen was young, and before he married his wife Emily and settled down, he was quite a baseball catcher. In fact, he was an avid sports fan all his life. People liked and trusted Stephen. In the early days, he delivered the mail with a horse and buggy, and in the winter time, with a horse and cutter. Can you imagine traveling 30 miles, delivering the mail in Minnesota weather? A rugged individual. I especially like Stephen because he was every man, an ordinary man, a sort of a symbol to the community in which he lived and made a mark upon his people. But he was really a symbol of the spirit of the Silver Lake people.
I can't believe I have to retire. At my age, I'm too young to retire. But what will I do? How can I support Emily and help my children through school and college? Oh, that devil of a Postmaster Farley, making me and some other men resign, just so some young Democrat pups can take over our jobs. Oh, this New Deal of Roosevelt stinks. I think that almost everyone in the Silver Lake area voted for him. Why, just like they turned out and voted for Al Smith when he ran. Why, they even left their sick beds to go vote for him. Oh, what am I going to tell Emily? How can I tell the children I am a failure? I am a failure.
Poor father, you're not a failure. His job was his life. How he loved it. The great outdoors, the turning of the seasons, the greens of spring, the yellows and oranges of autumn, driving his horse and cutter, skimming across the Minnesota snows, and later, his funny old car humming down the country roads. He's such a quiet and gentle man, a good husband, a good father, a good neighbor, a good friend. He was born in Habakim, Bavaria in 1876 and came to America with his parents when he was 3. He married mother, Emily Spadovsky, in his late 20s. Although they're an undemonstrative couple, it could be said of them that most likely a fly couldn't get between them. As time unfolded, mother and father had 6 children: Edwin, Arthur, Milton, Benjamin, Marion, and me, baby Mildred. Marion died when she was only 4, and how many times I had wished she had lived to be my playmate. The boys were good to me, but you know, boys will be boys. Sorrow strikes most families at some time or another, and we had our share of it, but we also had our share of humor and laughter too. In the old country, the Czech and Polish people needed humor and laughter to be able to cope with their lives of oppression, despair, and poverty. Their laughter helped them through the grim years and hard work that lay ahead of them in their new country. Father, you, like so many of our Silver Lake people, can be proud of your life. Your love of life and liberty, your friendships in church and in school, the affection you have for Mother, your pride in your roots and your pride in your children. And Father, you can be proud of your children, for with yours and Mother's guidance, we have already left our footprints in the sands of time. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, our dreams and the dreams of our ancestors that brought us to this new world, to this new beginning.
I like that country, girl.
I do too. I like all those good Silver Lake people down there. I'm glad we're assigned to them to be their angels.
Maybe I won't make any halos today. I think I'll just watch Earth and try to better understand the humans. Come on, Stephen Huckle. Where's your gumption? This isn't the end of the world, you know.
What's the matter with me? This isn't the end of the world, you know. I got lots of time. Thank God I'm healthy. I'll find another job. I'm not going to look back. I'm going to look ahead and up.
Delbert, what did your generation do for recreation?
Oh, we partied and danced. Didn't need an excuse to party. Danced at Sharon's Hall, Holowski's Hall, later Krejci and Straight in Swan Lake Pavilion.
Krejci's Hall and Holowski's Hall were right across the street from each other. We used to have dances on the 4th of July, Thanksgiving, and New Year's. The people used to go back and forth between the buildings. And the women didn't have to pay, so they went to each place to see what was doing at both places. The men had to pay. That Steve-All band sure was good. They used to play for special church events and even for some funerals.
We went to shows in the old fire hall. At first, the floor sloped for class plays, and there was a stage. Then later, they leveled the floors for dances, but it wasn't much good for dancing. No.
And don't forget Log Cabin, eating place and bar located south of Schlong's store, run by Louis DeMar. He really had a good deal on fried chicken. And they used to say where good friends meet on Abraham Street.
Yes, and remember the community fairs? There were 2 or 3 fairs held where the school is now. And judges came from the city to judge the baked goods, the canned goods, and fancy work, just like a county fair.
People used to live for those fairs. It was something to look forward to, because people just didn't go much in those times. And prize money was an incentive too. 35 cents for first prize. I used to get first prize on my poppy seed cake, and even some prizes for my pies.
I believe Jim Summerall was president of our fair. We had all kinds of exhibits and displays. Had a regular carnival atmosphere, fat lady and everything.
Yeah. Jim Summerall did put a lot of time in that fair. They built a dance platform with Shumla at its filling station. Lots of dancing going on in this town.
Yeah, they had good musicians and good bands. Frank Kohler started a band, I believe about 75 years ago.
Yeah, Kolar started the band, and then we had Frank Turnka and Theodore Undrachek, Ed Oliva, Oscar Merrill, Jack Horaci, Joe Barzignac, and Ed Lunau. They played for our fair and for the county fair.
Yeah, those fairs, they lasted 2-3 days, but ended about the time of the Depression.
Those dances between 1900 and 1912 were really something. Holopski's was upstairs in a building where the liquor store now is.
Yeah, we did a lot of dancing those days. 3 dance halls. Had a dance every Saturday night in the city hall. Played cards in the fire hall.
Had a lot of house parties and barn dances too.
Yeah.
Good musicians at different times. There was Art Polquist and the Zandra boys played the violin by ear. And Teddy McCuskey played the organ. George Nemitz played the concertina. Louis Kaczmarek and Jim Couts played the fiddle, and Potuk played the trumpet. Boy, could those guys play.
I know there were some good musicians, all right.
Remember George Zimba's 3-piece band? He used to play a lot of those house parties.
And Ray Olofsky's band, the syncopated Kolaches at Urban Bird.
Yeah, that's right. Those bands at the Swan Lake Pavilion were something too. Henry Klima's band, Hank Swoboda, Jerry Dusto, Whoopi John, and then George Zimba played on Sunday.
Hello, everybody.
Good to see you again, Bill. I guess if the ladies got there before 9 o'clock, they got in free. After 9 o'clock, 10 cents.
Yeah, pop was 5 cents and hamburgers and hot dogs were 5 cents in those days. And then they moved the pavilion south to Silver Lake in June of 1941. Otto and Emily Stratetsky's was the first wedding dance held there.
Do you remember how excited the whole town was when the Kolar's Legion Band got first place in the state in 1922? And they took first place for many years in those band tournaments. People used to come from all around every Wednesday evening to the park for those band concerts. That park, when I was a girl, was just a cow pasture. They had a board sidewalk running right next to it and a fence next to that, and the cows were grazing inside. One end of the land was kind of low, and so the cattails used to grow in there.
Yeah, the city hauled a lot of dirt to fill that place up there to make that park there.
Yes, I remember that. And remember how we enjoyed the Chautauquas when they came to town.
I guess so. What about the transportation about that time of World War I?
Oh, well, now I'm going to tell you. Before World War I, the means of transportation was by horse or buggy or walking, while so travel was limited. But with the coming of the automobile, there was nothing to drive. That brought people closer together with a better understanding of different nationalities and different religions. The first car I saw was a Holiday owned by John Sherman. And then after the war, it came Ford Model T and Chevy. Well, Joe Huckle here, he could tell you more about cars. He had the first car in first garage in Silver Lake, you and Frank Trinka.
Yeah, we had a few odd makes. There was the Overland and the Oldsmobile, Huckmobile, Holiday Star, Durant, Essex. Jim Jushka had a high-wheeled rubber-tired Holman, 2 cylinders. Dr. Haircut's car vibrated a lot. The steering wheel shook when he idled it. You had to crank those cars to start in those days. You had to be real careful. They weren't too safe. Broken arm here and there. Between 1920 and 1928, everybody jacked up their cars for the winter and went back to their horses.
What kind of businesses were there in Silver Lake around that same time?
Well, by about 1919, we had 5 grocery stores, 6 saloons, which of course got closed during the Prohibition. We had a sawmill and a flour mill, a brewery, 3 blacksmith shops, 3 barber shops.
What about gas stations when the coming of the car?
Well, Jim Nabraccio was one of the very early ones, where the Standard Station is today. Other stations were owned and operated by Kuras, Frank Halupski, Jim Bushko. Then he sold out to John Zaruba. Frank Shumlaw later on. John Falarin east by the county sheds. And then Jack Helmrich started up the Phillips 66 station by the lake.
I sure hope they get something in the play or the history books about the gardens in the lake during the Depression.
Well, I can tell you about that. That was during the time of the drought and depression. There was no lake. It was all dried up. A person could walk clear across it. There were just some cattails growing down there. We had a large garden on that lake. We could grow the biggest potatoes in that good peat soil, and even the strawberries and raspberries grew so huge and beautiful. Everyone had a garden at home and one on the lake. Everybody was broke, and so were we. Everybody had to raise their own food.
Yeah, Happy Bill McCluskey used to cut hay on that lake. His mower broke down one time, and I bet that mower's still sitting in the bottom of the lake. Yeah, times were tough then. Lawrence and I ran our barber and beauty shop together. I can remember when we only took in 40 cents for a day's wages. Yeah, and the Farmers State Bank closed. Lots of people lost their money, 25% of it. And then the Silver Lake State Bank closed for what they called a bank holiday. We had $17 rent money in there, and we lost 13% of that. Yeah, if you lived during the Depression, you know what our times were like.
Well, the Depression must have been tough, but what about the banks?
Well, I know something about the banks. The State Bank of Silver Lake was organized in 1902. I believe the original stockholders were Frank A. Stiebel, Joseph H. Philippi, Joseph Holupski, Albert Horich, and Charles Borlich, and several others. And the president was William Davison, and the vice president was Joseph Holupski. Then the Farmers and Merchant State Bank was incorporated in 1914, and the president of that was Frank Newark, and the vice president was Dr. Thomas J. Trippner. Some of the directors were C.S. Wojta, A.J. Tadashek, George Krioff, Joseph Kepley, and J.H. Howlish.
So, many of the same names appear again and again in Silver Lake's early history.
That's right. Those men built the town. Well, it was a farmer's bank that closed. We only have one bank today, and E.J. Winchell is the chairman of the board of the Silver Lake Bank. And the president and director is Albert Evanswald, and the first vice president is Floyd Lutka. John Winchell, Lois Ellinger, and Barry Barton are directors.
Mary, I can tell you know lots about the banks.
Oh, yes, I do. And do you know about the most recent scandal?
No, what's that?
Well, let me tell you.
Let's get back to the 30s. Somebody says it was very, very dry in the 1930s.
Well, it was dry right when all the saloons closed.
Yeah, it was dry. So dry in 32 and 33, fire department was on alert day and night. People were starting fires in the lake. We were afraid the whole town would burn down. I joined the fire department in 1930. All they had then was the old full outfit. Then the department bought a 1933 Ford pumper. That was a big help.
Yeah, the department got that pumper in 1934. And before that, they used to pull the equipment behind the car. We had a big sawmill and elevator fire. I remember the sawmill elevator fire. It was in 1936 or around there that the Victoria elevator on the loose line was on a Sunday night. They called Hutch to help, but with the grain and everything, that place burned for a week or more. Jim Staza was manager at the time. I was an active member of the fire department for 36 years and mayor for 2 terms from 1951 to 54. I followed Henry Howard.
Yeah, boys, you can talk about that, but we used to party in that park. We'd party any place, any time. It didn't make any difference. That darn prohibition, though, of 1919 to 1933 sure slowed this town down some.
Yeah, that Bullsback Act was the end of 6 saloons in Silver Lake. Had to close down because no beer or whiskey could be sold. Why, that put a lot of people out of work. And then came the Depression, hard times, and then a drought like last year, and those doggone grasshoppers.
Gradually what came in was moonshining and bootlegging. That came in every community. Put the law enforcement people on alert.
Yeah, but we still had those house parties. George Zimba used to come from the city. Barky was his chauffeur. Barky didn't drink. He was the driver, so he never drank. They'd bring a keg of Hires root beer for the kids. And Joe Zabelka, he'd bring some Polish sausage and bread, and he'd bring some root beer too. And kids would play outside, and inside the folks would dance and drink a little moonshine.
Oh, they drank a lot of moonshine.
Yeah, they did. I'll bet you when those Polish and Czech boys come home from World War I, they were pretty disappointed when they found out they couldn't even buy a drink in their own hometown.
Yes, when Martin came home from World War I Navy, he wasn't very happy to see all the saloons closed. He was ready to celebrate.
Yeah, John was in the 54th Infantry, and he served 2 years. And when he came back after the armistice was signed, he sure could have used a drink.
Yeah, but there was always moonshine. Every place in town just about sold it. Everybody knew where they could get bootleg liquor. There was one night I won't forget, though. It was about 1926 or 27. I was about 9 years old. It was a real wintry night. My older brother Harry and I just got done milking, and we went out with our lantern, and old Shep was with us. And you couldn't see nothing, but we heard a sound coming from between Pilarski's place and our place. So Harry said we should go down there and look. Well, I wouldn't go unless Shep went along. But we walked down there, and the closer we got, the louder the sound got. And it was that outfit from Little Falls. They brought the stuff for the log cabin in this big black Buick. They had the back seat ripped out, and they had it full with gallon cans. That back seat was solid moonshine.
Yeah, there was a lot of moonshine that came into Silver Lake and back in that Buick from Little Falls.
When I was in high school, I worked with Jim Matushka over at the log cabin. He was showing me how to make turtle soup and that. Well, that log cabin was famous for its turtle soup, and in the 20s for its moonshine.
Shimmy, there are a lot of stories that came out of the log cabin. I bet if Arthur Corney was still alive, he could really tell you some bootlegging stories.
He told me one story about the hollow post. Seems there was 10 posts in the basement. One of them was hollow. You'd go downstairs and it would look like a regular post, but it was a dummy. There was a spike at the top with a jacket hanging on it and another spike at the bottom. If somebody wanted a pint, they'd go down in the basement, grab that jacket, pull it open, grab a jug, close it up. Those boys from Little Falls, when they came to deliver, they knew exactly where to go, paid how much was owed, and got out. Those boys from Little Falls were nobody to mess around with.
Well, that's for sure. The Sheriff Bloss and Deputy Nyberg, and later Byhopper and Sheriff Tessmer, they had their work cut out with those Little Falls moonshiners.
Watch who you're bumping into. Whoa. Hey, Boo. How you doing? Where do you want these chickens? I'll put them behind the bar here.
Well, sure it's cold and snowy out there. It's a good thing those chickens are Rhode Island Reds, otherwise you would be able to tell them from the snow. Hi, Sheriff. Deputy. Did you come here for chicken this early in the morning?
Hell no, I'm not looking for chickens. I'm looking for moonshine and moonshiners.
I think you've come to the wrong place. All we have here is chickens. The best fried chicken in town.
There's moonshine in this place somehow. And I'm going to find it if I got to tear the whole place apart.
We saw that black Buick come in here last night from Little Falls, and that black Buick ain't no hearse. We know what it delivers.
The only black car I know about is that NOS's funeral parlor. I ain't seen no black Buick.
Me neither. Why, you must be mistaken, Sheriff. Why, that was me delivering chickens last night.
How many chickens can this town eat? Chickens in the morning, chickens in the afternoon, chickens at night. That's a lot of chicken shit.
Don't say that word, Sheriff. It's a highly improper word.
Don't tell me what's proper or what's improper. I just know selling moonshine is improper. Besides that, it's against the law.
You know, Sheriff, they shouldn't make silly laws like that. They're too hard to carry out. Now, why don't you just turn aside here for a while while I bring in some more of my chickens? I don't want my chickens flapping their feathers in your eyes.
Get the hell out of here! Take it to Three Chicks Harness Shop! Driver! What the hell did you turn your back for?
You turned your back too, Sheriff.
I just turned sideways a little bit. And Dewey, where are the chickens? Bring them in. Driver, find that job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're just wasting your time. There's no moonshine here.
Oh, Uncle Marty, what you doing here?
I work here.
Just come to work now?
Yes, sir. Just came to work now. Would you like some fried chicken?
That's just what I asked you.
I don't want no fried chicken. You want turtle soup? I don't want fried chicken. I don't want turtle soup. I just want that alcohol them Little Falls guys delivered here. Where is it? I don't know what you're talking about. I just work here. Nyberg, we didn't find it this time, so we can't arrest anybody. But remember, fellas, I got this place covered at all hours.
What do you have it covered with, Sheriff?
I got it covered with chicken.
Naughty, naughty. Don't say that word. It's not nice.
Idiots! 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 This place is loaded with idiots! Come on, neighbors, let's go!
Alright, go to Straight Chick's Harness Shop and get that job! And bring it right back!
Joe!
We didn't want you to get rusted both, so we drank up all the evidence.
We're glad we got them little false bootleggers locked up.
Sure put up a fight before we got them into the county jail.
They were really mad. Somebody stole the moonshine out of the back seat of this car. Wonder who it was. Now we'll have to search the log cabin and try and find the liquid evidence.
No need to search the lock cabin, Sheriff. There's no moonshine there.
Where is it?
It disappeared, sir.
Blow away some.
Oh, so you fellows got that moonshine.
Could be.
Just temporarily. Very temporarily. I gotta buy me a kick sale real quick.
Oh, is that where you got the moonshine store?
In an outhouse.
Gonna put some there real quick. I gotta go.
Hey! Who is this chick sale?
That's just a fancy name for an outhouse here. We're just a temporary storage place for that moonshine. Darn good moonshine.
I'm gonna arrest you fellas for stealing that moonshine.
Listen, Sheriff. That moonshine is illegal, ain't it?